Ah, the early 1900s, a time of industrial progress, stiff upper lips and rules, so many rules, especially if you were in the British Royal Navy, a force so mighty it controlled the seas, and so petty it couldn't handle a beard. You see, facial hair in the Navy wasn't just a matter of fashion. It was regulation, a symbol of order, discipline, masculine decorum. And by 1907, the Navy's official stance was this. You could have a moustache, you could have a beard, but if you didn't have either, you were basically a lawless sea goblin. Enter one Captain Samson. Brilliant, decorated, innovative, and also the man whose facial hair nearly sparked a full-on naval crisis. So, grab your grooming kit, stiffen your upper lip, and prepare for the strangest personnel dispute in military history. Welcome to Lazy History Club. The British Royal Navy was no joke. With fleets spanning continents and warships dominating oceans, the Royal Navy was the pride of the empire. But pride came with a manual, a thick, dusty, delightfully absurd manual. Tucked among procedures for signal flags and cannon maintenance was Regulation Article 878, which stated, "The beard may be worn at the discretion of the individual, but if no beard is worn, the upper lip must be unshaven." That's right. If you weren't bearded, you had to have a moustache. Shaving your whole face was literally against the rules. This was taken very seriously. Photos of naval officers show a parade of carefully sculpted stashes, bristly beards and sideburns that could slice a baguette. The reasoning? It projected authority. It intimidated enemies. It kept your face warm in icy Atlantic gales. Also, Victorian men just really liked moustaches. Okay, enter Captain Samson, naval hero, tech pioneer, and proud beard haver. Samson was no slouch. He helped usher in early military aviation, dabbled in submarine warfare, and basically tried every exciting new naval technology before it was cool. He also had what could only be described as a glorious facial forest. It was neat. It was disciplined. It probably had its own zip code. But during a routine inspection, a higher-up glanced at Samson's face and frowned. That beard is unauthorized. Samson blinked. Unauthorized? He pointed to Article 878. I'm allowed to have a beard. The officer nodded gravely. Yes, but did you submit the form requesting permission to grow it? Samson, I've had this beard since I was a lieutenant. The officer, still, no form, no beard. Thus began the British military's pettiest war. Not against Germany, or pirates, or sea monsters, but against one man's chin. You see, the British Navy wasn't just a fighting force. It was a bureaucracy in uniform. And within that bureaucracy, hair required administrative approval. Apparently, the Navy believed that spontaneous facial hair could undermine naval stability. So, they demanded Samson shave. Immediately. Or else, Samson refused, and so began a slow, ridiculous avalanche of paperwork. Samson was cited for breach of uniform regulations. He wrote a rebuttal that spanned 6 pages. That rebuttal had to be reviewed by a beard evaluation panel. Yes, really. The panel couldn't decide what to do, so they passed it up the chain of command. This wasn't just about hair anymore. This was about control, tradition, and the horrifying idea that maybe the regulations were flawed. Soon, high-ranking officers were debating whether beards required annual reauthorization. One admiral even argued that beards should only be grown during official beard seasons. This is not satire. This was the British Empire. News of the conflict reached foreign navies, and France, bless her petty heart, took full advantage. French newspapers published cartoons of British sailors drowning in red tape, while Samson floated by on his majestic beard like Poseidon. French admirals released public statements calling the British facial fascists. One French commander even invited Samson to tour their navy, stating he would be treated with the respect due to a man with excellent grooming and aviation foresight. The British press had a field day. Letters poured into the Admiralty, from veterans, from citizens, even from entire barber guilds, all saying, "Let the man keep the beard." It was a PR nightmare. Samson was now the patron saint of rebellious follicles. Faced with international ridicule, the Admiralty had to act. But instead of caving, they decided to double down. They issued a compromise. Captain Samson may retain his beard, provided a clearly defined moustache is visible beneath it. Pause. What? They were literally requiring a moustache inside the beard. Like a Matryoshka doll. But hairy. I can't grow a moustache under my beard without shaving the beard. That defeats the purpose. The Navy held firm, and for weeks Samson was in regulatory limbo, technically in uniform, but also technically a danger to naval discipline. Historians still don't know whether this was actual policy, or if some officer just wanted to see how far they could push facial geometry. Eventually, something had to give. A quiet review board met behind closed doors. No announcements, no press conference. But the next edition of Naval Regulations. Article 878, gone. The facial hair clause. Deleted. Buried. Silently vanished into the sea of forgotten policies. Samson? He kept the beard. He later became a national hero, led key aviation missions in WWI, and was knighted for his service. The British Navy never again tried to legislate facial hair with such zeal. It had learned its lesson. So, what did we learn? First, never mess with a man's beard. Second, even the world's most powerful institutions can fall apart over a grooming dispute. And third, British bureaucracy, left unchecked, will create an entire naval crisis over chin fuzz. Captain Samson didn't start a war. He didn't sink an enemy ship. He didn't uncover spies or build battleships. But he did prove this. Sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is refuse to shave. This has been Lazy History Club. Join us next time for more strange true stories that prove history isn't boring. It's just really, really weird. Until then, stay curious, stay ridiculous, and never, ever let the Admiralty near your face.